Hello, film fans. Welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. My name is Martin Harries, your host, and I'm joined by the film encyclopedia man, Boaz Dix. We are a couple of filmmakers on occasion, but mainly can't stop yapping about movies. On this podcast, every episode we pick a topic from a film that's coming out at the cinema or on VOD. Myself and Boaz pick our favourite film from that topic, and we battle it out to decide which film will become the greatest film of all time, according to two film geeks from Wiltshire, England. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a review and subscribe. Hello, welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. This week we are tackling female revenge films, as Promising Young Woman is coming out on the 12th of February on VOD. Unfortunately not cinemas, but we still get to see it. As ever, I'm joined by Boaz Dix, Mr. Encyclopedia Man. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thanks. How about you?
I'm not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
Right, shall we get straight into it? My pick is the very creative title in Revenge, from 2017 from France. Yeah, there was a few that I considered. I mean, there's the big two I consider in like Carrie and Kill Bill. I think they're the two main ones you would probably go to, but I think it's kind of cool with this podcast we're choosing, like, certainly very...
Yeah, more obscure.
I wouldn't say obscure, but different, I guess, in this spectrum. Yeah, the story is very much your typical female revenge story, I guess. You know, it starts off with, I don't know, these three guys going on a hunting trip.
Well, actually, it starts off with a blowjob, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, before that. Before that, these three guys arrive with, as you say, a bit on the side, I guess. I don't know. Mistress, this guy called Richard's mistress called Jennifer, and they arrive in this really nice, like, penthouse.
So she's going to leave bits on the side everywhere. Bits of their flesh. That should have been a tag.
They arrive. Yeah, they arrive in this really nice house in the middle of absolute nowhere, and they, it's supposed to be a hunting trip, and then one of the characters, Stan, rapes Jennifer, and she kind of runs away, and then Richard, like, pushes her off a cliff, and you think she's kind of dead, and like, oh, what the hell's going on here? She can't be dead, and then she kind of takes revenge from there, you know, on quite a blood-spewed revenge thriller ensues. So should we do directing first?
Yeah, sure. But yeah, I would say, especially about the directing, it does have this kind of, I don't know, dreamlike sort of like you're on LSD sort of thing. It's just really strange. And you even get that like straight from the start. Do you remember they keep like focusing on this apple that she's taken a bite out of?
Yeah.
That was so strange. I was like, what is going on? Like, you know, they're partying and having fun. It keeps focusing on this apple and ants like swarm it. And it's just... So even right from the off, it's incredibly peculiar. Yeah,
the director has a very weird fascination with food and like extreme, like proper extreme, like microscopic close-up shots. There's a few of Dimitri while he's eating chocolate and and eating an apple, as you said. And there's one particular one where when Jennifer does land on this like tree stump, she's literally like a bit of trees. Sticking out of her abdomen. It's just like, oh god. And at the start of the sequence where she's starting to wake up, it starts with these incredibly close shots on these ants, and blood drips down on them, and you get this incredible like booming sounds of the drops of blood.
It sounds like bullets. It sounds like firing ammo and stuff as they're just landing on the ants. It's I think it's a lot of this kind of weird stuff I kind of see as like foreshadowing or symbolic. So, you know, like she's going to get up and like her blood is basically shooting at these ants, you know, she's going to shoot at these insects, you know, these guys.
And also kind of like a texture thing as well, because obviously this film gets right down and dirty. It's very, you know, dirty and disgusting. And in terms of with the characters as well. Like, when Dimitri's eating the chocolate, they go right close into it, and it makes you feel quite uncomfortable and just like, ew.
Yeah.
Please clean your teeth now.
Yeah.
And mine.
Yeah, no, it does a lot of that. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's quite interesting. But yeah, I do think a lot of these like shots, as I said, are symbolic. Maybe like the ant, and because I was trying to think like the ants and the apple. Maybe it's like she's like an apple. Do you know what I mean? Like these, I suppose you say insects. These guys who are like gross and stuff are like the ants, and she's like the apple. I don't know. I just keep trying to think of stuff like that because
I don't know.
I do think there is probably like deeper meaning.
I don't remember the last time an apple took revenge on people.
Well, you have a short memory. It was all in the papers. The killer apple that destroyed people.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that where they got the name Big Apple from? For New York?
Probably. Yeah, it sits on a giant apple. But what was kind of funny as well? Well, actually, I thought the focusing on the ants thing. I'm gonna move past this, but the focusing on the ants, I just thought was kind of a bit strange, as I've already said. And then the ants, when she's coming back to life, it's almost like they bring her back to life. I swear to God, her eyes did look dead. They looked like white. I was definitely getting like Catwoman vibes, or Batman Returns, when the cats bring her back to life. I thought she was going to come back as like Ant Woman or something, but luckily that didn't happen.
Yeah. There's certainly like a lot of Phoenix analogies, because obviously she literally, with the first time she goes into the cave, she takes these drugs that that Richard brought with him, and she kind of, Richard asks her to put them in a hiding place, but she just puts it in her necklace. Yeah, and when she's starting to recover, she finds this cave. Beautiful shots in the cave, by the way, and she takes the drug, and it's a really interesting sequence because the director avoids like the typical drug trippy scene to start off with in that first initial scene, and like you see a lot of close-up shots around her face, and like being really twitchy, and then she kind of gains focus. Because usually how you would do that, you would have a lot of like POV shots of her, really weird visceral things going on, a lot of blurry stuff and vivid colours. But she intentionally avoids that. Yeah, and then she uses like the beer can, which has like a bird, an eagle on the side, and puts it on the fire, and then heals her wound, and you've got a massive like tattoo burn mark of an eagle, which certainly symbolises, the Phoenix analogy coming, turning into this vengeful woman, which looked awesome. And then you have the great double fake out scene, which is where you get the traditional druggy scene, because you don't expect it at all, because when she first takes it, you have the scene where it's all, just out of her perspective, if you know what I mean. She's like, oh, we've had the druggy scene, but now you're getting it full on with the double takeout. She gets shot in the head twice, and then, Dimitri looks like, comes back to life, all his mangled body, because he's been soaked in the water, in the river, been in the lake for so long, and then was it Stan is like pretending to be a lizard with a few shots, and it's just like really visceral and crazy.
Yeah. Oh, and there was an eagle that eats a rabbit or something.
You don't expect it at all.
No, but I do think there's a lot of like symbolism, as I said, like with the druggy thing. I didn't expect that, mainly because I thought it would just go straight off into the hallucination thing, but she's just started hearing voices, and then that's over. You think that's fine, and then, as you said, she gets her head blown clean off, but it's like, it's a dream, then gets her head blown clean off again. You're like, what the hell is going on? And it goes full on into it, for a couple of seconds. But things like with the eagle taking down the rabbit, I think, well, it is very symbolic of, basically it's rubbing your face into it. She has an eagle tattooed onto her stomach now, seared on, cauterized because of the beer can. So, it's like, she's the hunter now, sort of thing. So you know what to expect, really.
I actually really like the shot, like, right from the start, where they land on, this desert landscape, and all you see, then there's a shot of all you see is this just bluey green of the landscape tinted in this blue-green. But then the camera pulls out to reveal Richard's sunglasses.
Oh yeah, that was good.
And then you've got Jen in the background, sucking a lollipop, and like right there, that this girl is going to take revenge on this guy, like right from this first shot, and then cut to title card revenge. I thought it was really quite a clever way to open the film, really.
Yeah.
And going back to like the craziness as well, like I really like the little montage sequence they have at the party scene. Again, they go to a lot of these extreme close-ups on Jen, on, her lipstick and her eyes and things. A lot of, like, smoking, drinking. They all get swimming fully clothed in the pool and stuff. A lot of, like, hard light of, like, these blues and pinks.
Yeah.
Just, like, really super stylish. What did you think about the last scene, where the blood-soaked scene back at the penthouse?
Yeah, that was really good. It was like it was a game of cat and mouse with just blood and stuff.
They're going in circles, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're literally going in circles, chasing each other, and they're all covered in blood by this point.
Yeah.
And Jen is at one point is literally swimming in it in the corridor.
Yeah, I know.
Slipping over and stuff.
Over, that was really cool. And like when he grabbed her up, he pulled her up, and there's blood like gushing from her head over her eyes, and it's a POV shot with like just blood in her eyes, You're looking at him, but it's just kind of, he's red and stuff. I like the bit where she's going to go into the living room because he set a trap, because he's a hunter and everything. And he's, put blood stains on the carpet. She's about to go, and then you just see all this blood, like, drip by her feet, because he's off to the side, obscured, yeah. Oh, that was really clever. Oh my god, the scene where... because there's a lot of blood and there's a lot of stuff in the film like that, a lot of gore and stuff. But the bit that I literally...
They like their big blood squibs.
Yeah, I didn't have too much of a problem with it, because I'm fine with like really over the top violence. It just seems so absurd, somebody's head exploding. Okay, fair enough. But the bit that really like screwed me up was where Stan steps on glass and he has to pull that out of his foot. I had to stop watching.
That was insane.
I had to stop watching, and I had to just take a break for a couple of minutes. That was a bit too intense. Because it's quite a clever moment as well, because he's removed his shoe because it was covered in blood, and she was tracking him, which is like it pays homage to the beginning. Well, and it's basically hunting. The film is about hunting. At the start, they're hunting her using like traditional hunting methods, and like she's leaving a trail of blood and all this stuff. But I love how she kind of quickly picks that up. And, it's not that hard to pick up, but yeah. And she's chasing him because he's leaving a trail of blood. But then he removes his shoe, which is soaking in blood, and makes a tourniquet for his arm, so he stops bleeding. He manages to surprise her. I think he shoots her, doesn't he? Shoots her, like in the head or something.
Shoots her earring off.
Yeah, shoots her earring off. Yeah, that was really intense. And the way it's like she's shot and then boom, like the screen fades. It just goes, and you're like, oh shit. And then she's
all
awake.
The sound is cut out for a moment,
and then it rings back in. But I love when she's being chased. She crashes. She breaks some glass, and he continues running. And I'm like, I know where this is going. He's got one, foot without a shoe, like barefoot. And she's put glass. Yeah, I know where this is going. But I didn't expect how, like, uncomfortable it was to watch. He gets this big piece of glass in his foot and then spends a couple of seconds trying to dig it out. Oh, my God. Congratulations to the acting.
They must have used a lot of...
ketchup.
Watermelons or something.
Lots and lots
to
of
get
ketchup.
The sound effects for that.
Yeah.
I mean, for the sound effects. For the Foley, a lot of fruit being wasted.
Yeah, no, like really horrible squelching noise, but it's also like his acting. I mean, the prosthetics on the foot is really good, but like the acting, my God, it sells it because it looks like he is in so much pain. Yeah, I couldn't watch that.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, that was pretty intense.
Have you got a favourite shot?
Have I got a favourite shot? Oh, actually, yeah, I got it. Where she stabs the guy in the head.
Oh yeah, that was intense.
Yeah, that was really intense.
In the lake at night. Yeah, I quite like the bit where like Stan gets really freaked out when he kind of rises up to the surface and he goes absolutely nuts. we'll go to that in acting.
Yeah. But again, this is also, this. I'm just saying the symbolism of shots, I reckon, is a definite thing, and it's intentional, like the focusing on seemingly trivial things, because they kind of represent the narrative, I think. So I do say my theory about the ants, I do believe represent the hunters, the bad guys. But also, and like to push that point home, before Stan finds the other guy's dead body in the water because he's been drowned, he goes to take a piss, and like he's pissing, and then he drowns a spider in his own piss. Like he just sees a spider and he just drowns.
Oh yeah, that was disgusting.
That was disgusting.
But poor spider.
I know,
oh my
but
God.
I'm saying I think these shots are deliberate, because it's like, okay, he's drowned a disgusting, arachnid, a disgusting spider in piss, and then his friend has been drowned. I think it's it's a deliberate. These guys are scum.
Yeah. I quite like the little jump scare they do, done for laughs, where Stan is like sleeping in the Jeep. Like, I think just after the first drug scene with Jen, and then you get like, boom, Richard slaps like a bloody dead coyote on the windshield.
That was a good one.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was really good.
I've never really seen. I mean, I laughed. I wasn't scared. It was just funny to me.
Yeah, I quite like that scene.
I think my favourite shot is like when you see Jen in like all her black gear, and she's got, the knife on her hip, and she's got a gun and like all the ammo around her shoulder, like standing on the cliff, just posing. And there's a really nice tracking shot. It just tracks along her shadow and then just goes all the way around her body to reveal her face at the end with like the big, pink earrings. It's just a really cool shot, that I thought.
Yeah, that was cool.
Really nice, just to reveal like this transformation, just going really to town on the directing with that, just to make it really cool and stylish.
Yeah.
So, score, Boaz, what is your score for directing?
8.8.
8.8? Oh, that's quite high. Yeah, I guess this film doesn't really do anything particularly subtle at all. It's very much in your face. Yeah. As you said, there's a lot of great extreme close-ups, to add this disgusting texture. I'm not sure I go as high as that, but probably like a solid 8.5.
All right.
Do we do screenplay first? Second?
Yeah, let's do screenplay. Yeah, I do like the, I like the evolution of Jen throughout the thing. I mean, that's fairly central. I like how the hunter guys were treated, like in the screenplay. That was fairly entertaining, because, Richard, like at the start, he's so like sweet, and he's like a charmer and all this. And his other friends are completely creeps, Big one's pretty disgusting, the other one is really creepy and rapey and stuff. And as the film progresses, it's like, Richard is like really evil. He's just so uncaring, and it's basically a sociopath. And the other guys are like quite cowardly, And like Stan is constantly rethinking this. He's like, even though he bloody started it, it's his goddamn fault all of this happened. But I think that's kind of one of the only like dynamics in the film, because she's mainly on her own. But Stan and Richard, I thought their dynamic was pretty cool. Yeah, Richard just basically showing him who's boss, and Stan being so unsure about this hell that he's just kicked off. I thought that was really well written. Because, you could just do the villains, like, I don't know, like they've got their shit together or whatever. But obviously this has never happened before. They've never had to hunt somebody down. Yeah,
as you say, the twist is quite good with Richard, because you at the start you think he is on Jen's side the whole time until he pushes her off the cliff. Yeah. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, you can tell even.
So that's the only real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There aren't like any kind of major twists or turns or anything. I mean, the film is pretty simple. It's like, it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
They're trying to hunt this girl. They tried to kill her. They're trying to hunt her. She hunts them and kills them. I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory.
Yeah, I think that's all you need really in this script with this type of story. Like, the setup is quite quick. I think what's more interesting, I guess, is just the transformation in Jen's character and as you said, the dynamics between the three guys. Like, their psychological positions in this. Like Richard is just incredibly determined to kill her and wipe out all the evidence, whereas Stan is just completely conflicted on like what they should do. At one point he's like, oh, should we team up and get lots of lawyers in place and just take her to the hospital, which leads to like the really great line for me from Richard, where he says, "What are you afraid of? You seem to have balls with her, so pick them up and go find her."
Yeah, that was a good one.
Which was quite good.
Yeah, that was generally really good.
Which is my favourite line, to be fair. There's not a lot of great lines, I guess, in this.
My favourite line, I would say, like line-wise, from Jen, she goes basically quiet once things get started, and that's fairly early on in the film. She doesn't really talk much. It's mainly physical acting and stuff like that. And the other guys, it's mainly Richard that talks the most, really. And I would say has got like the most memorable lines. But I think
and Stan.
And Stan. It's mainly Rich and Stan. I would say my favourite, if we're going on to lines, my favourite line is where Stan is freaking out that they're being like hunted and stuff, and she's killed one of them. And he goes into his truck and turns on the aircon. And I love how Rich just comes over and he's like, turn the aircon off. It's bad for the environment. Yeah. I don't like it. He's like, turn the aircon off.
That was really random.
It was really random. But I really liked it. I thought, what the hell? But, yeah.
Well, I think it just shows you that, like, Stan really pisses Richard off. He's like, anything he does, he will really piss this guy off.
Yeah, he broke his nose as well.
I just fucking turn it off.
He broke his nose because he
cool
said something like, this is all your fault, like pushing her off that thing. You shouldn't have done that. And he says something else, like he changes the subject on something superfluous and then turns around and just breaks his nose. But you can tell like they're not the most organised. As I said, you definitely get the vibe. This has never happened before. They're making it up as they go along. You could tell like maybe Rich would have done something like this. I think when she mentioned his wife, like if he doesn't get her back home, she'll call his wife. And you remember he laid her out then. And that's the only thing he's thinking about, I think. Now he doesn't have a wife, he doesn't have a life. He's dead. So
there's also like a really creepy line from Stan, like near the start, where Stan and Jen are just sitting in the bedroom, and like Jen is just literally wearing a t-shirt and panties, and and like Stan just gives her her his card, and he says, "Oh, we could do a thing or two together," and it's just like, oh my god, creepy.
Yeah. And
this is just before he rapes her, and it's just
that was crazy.
Not a nice scene.
It's really horrible.
But it was interesting in that sequence, obviously, because you just see the start of it, and then you're certainly with Dimitri's perspective, because it's just after he's eaten like this chocolate bar like really close up, and he just walks away and just watches TV while you can hear the sound from the rape. It's quite disconcerting and horrible.
Like he leaves the room. Because I think he says to him, are you gonna just either piss off or come in, And he just turns around and he goes out because he waits for a second and he turns around, and then you hear all the noise from her being raped and stuff. And he turns around, like thought, like realization, and you think, oh, is he gonna like? Has he changed his mind? Is he going to like stop this? And he just turns the volume of the TV on. Yeah, that was pretty. Pretty disturbing. Yeah.
Have you got a favourite line?
Again, it's going to be so strange, but the one with the air conditioner one, the air conditioner one. I just like that line.
Can you just turn it down?
Turn the AC off. It's bad for the environment. It's like okay.
That's
the least of your concerns. I think that kind of shows that like Rich is also breaking, like he's pretending to like know what he's doing. It's just
slightly unraveling at that point, maybe. So score for screenplay,
or maybe a 7.9 or 7.8, maybe a 7.8,
okay.
7.8. It's just the thing. It's
7.8.
Yeah, it's just the thing I'm thinking is like really the memorable thing about this film is the shots. It's the It's the look of the film, and it's the violence of the film. But
Yeah.
you know, I think you're right. Like there aren't like that many memorable lines in it and stuff like that. But
Yeah, there's not many memorable lines, and I think, as you say, like Jen literally has next to nothing to say in this film, which I don't mind, because a lot of what's great about Jen is what she does in her actions, but you don't really know anything about her at all. She's just a teenage girl, you know, that's just, you know, having sex with this rich guy.
yeah, well, because you basically
That's
yeah
it.
exactly you basically think, oh, she's a spoilt dumb blonde, and because that's how she acts. But then it's like, well, nothing happens.
And she turns into a
yeah,
badass,
she turns into a
so,
badass, but you don't know about her really.
Yeah. But certainly, as everyone knows, you know, screenplays aren't just all about the
Yeah, no,
dialogue and what they say, it's how the film is structured. Yes, it has a really very simple revenge thriller structure, which really works well. But what I quite liked about the script is what we talked about in directing as well, which certainly bleeds into screenplay, is the whole, you know, the first drug scene, which you don't expect it to be like that. And then you get the double fake out, which you do not expect at all.
Yeah, that was really good.
I mean, I had seen this film before and I completely forgot about it. I was just like, oh shit, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Sexy Beast?
So I really like that.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Sexy Beast?
Yes, many, many years
Yeah.
ago.
I was getting very, like, really big Sexy Beast vibes from this film. I don't know, like, just seemed really
Oh,
similar.
wait.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know why I mentioned that. I just thought I'd mention that.
Okay.
Just the way it was directed really reminded me of it.
Okay. So screenplay score, I would probably go a 7.5. So acting, I think one of my favourite performances actually is Vincent Colum. Colum? Yeah, a lot of French guys. Who plays Stan.
Yeah, I was going to say Stan as well.
He is super intense in this film.
I think he goes through, like, a lot, like, emotionally in this film, more than... I wouldn't say more than anyone else. I mean, she's literally been through hell, but him as an actor, you know, his face and, like, how he delivers his lines.
Yeah.
He goes from, like, being...
Like, he just has, like, a really creepy smile. You know, certainly in the beginning at Jed, and it's just like... Ugh.
But it's like he goes from, like, being, like, really gross and really creepy and very unnerving to being, like, very cowardly and, like, weaselly and, like... And you kind of feel a bit sorry for him, to be very menacing at the end and stuff.
Really?
I don't know, like, when
I never felt sorry for him.
You never felt sorry for him?
The guy's a rapist.
Okay. I'm not saying... I you know, I'll make it clear. I know he's a rapist. I'm saying, shut up. Shut up. Maybe sorry isn't the best word to use, but you know, definitely feel like he's gonna, you know, he's scared. He's scared. There we go. I'm not feeling sorry for any rapist.
He gets what he fucking deserves.
He gets what he deserves, yeah. In fact, he should have
a sniper bullet to the head with a giant squid.
In fact, if we start talking when we talk about hard candy, he probably deserves what that guy got. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ! Yeah, but we'll get onto that in a minute. That was insane.
Yeah, there's a great moment from Stan where we touched on it a little bit, but when Stan sees Dimitri's body rise up from the lake and he goes fucking nuts with fear.
Yeah.
He like falls in the lake, gets soaked, nearly drowns.
Yeah.
Gets up, throws up
Yeah.
on this, you know, when he gets out of the lake, and then runs into the Jeep and actually just goes nuts in the Jeep.
Yeah.
It's a quite incredible
Yeah, it's
piece
amazing,
of
yeah.
acting, I thought.
He's just smashing everything. Ah! Like that. You're like, whoa.
And then it like cuts to silence of Richard just staring at the body near the lake. And it's just really quiet after that. It's just really interesting, just comparing, you know, the juxtapositions of these two characters' state of mind. Like, Richard is not fazed by this at all. Or he is, but it's just all internal. But with Stan, it's all external.
Yeah.
And again, we've touched on it a little bit with Stan, with his facial expressions when he's taking the glass out of his foot. It's just like, oh my god, the guy is really going for it in this.
It is. It makes. I think it makes that scene like much worse. Like, I really found it difficult to watch, and I think he does sell it because you're like, oh my god, this is too painful.
And the camera does not shy away from from the glass in the foot at all.
Gross.
Yeah, he's quite incredible in that point. So yeah, I think I'm right in saying both of our favourite performances are Vincent.
Yeah, Stan the man, Stan the rapist man.
I think who plays Stan. Yeah. What do you think about Jen's the actress who plays Jen?
Yeah, I thought she was pretty good. Yeah.
Matilda Anna Ingrid Lutz. Yeah, as you said, she's very much her physicality. Even at the start with the dancing, she's really sexy and amazing. I think the only thing that's kind of bothered me a lot, the director does choose to have a lot of ass shots. I'm like, okay, yes, we know she's got a really nice ass, but we get it.
I kind of forgot every 30 seconds, so I needed reminding. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think certainly the way she portrays her transformation is really, really good, I think. So, Mr. Encyclopedia Man, what's your score for acting?
I think maybe I'll go 8.3.
Yeah, I think for me, as we said, like Stan Vincent Colombi is incredible, really. Apologies if I've butchered your name, I probably have. Yeah, I think he's quite remarkable.
Yeah, he definitely had fun with it.
Matilda Anna Ingrid Lewitz is great as Jen. As I think I've said, her transformation into this really cool badass is really quite remarkable, but I'm not sure it's a massive stretch for her, and you could probably have a lot of other people in that role do, quite a fine job as well.
Yeah.
Richard, Kevin Janssens is great as well in a very different way to Stan. He's got like this very like quiet rage bubbling under. When it does explode at the end, it's quite remarkable. There's some great shots of him, running into camera covered in blood.
Basically
the running in circles scene was great.
Like his guts hanging out, naked. Do you know what was it? It's funny that he would.
You do see his.
You do see his penis. Yeah,
I was like, oh,
exactly. It was tracking him. He's naked. I'm like, wow, this guy enjoys being naked. And he goes to sit down, and they didn't manage to cover it like quite fast enough. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you see it again as well. I'm like, did I see his penis? Oh yeah.
I want to change my contract. What's going on?
Yeah. Do you think that's a prosthetic penis, or is that au naturel? I don't know. We could email.
That's natural.
Yeah, we could email him.
Well,
find
yeah.
out. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think they had the bigger budget to say, I want a bigger penis, please.
Did you hear about that time where they apparently did that a lot on Game of Thrones, like fake penises?
Really?
Yeah, I think that's quite funny.
I'll probably go 7.7. Right, let's do the scores for Revenge. The score for Revenge is 48.6, which is not bad. Not bad. Not brilliant. I don't think it breaks into the top 10, but there we are. So, Boaz, what is your pick for female revenge films?
I have picked Hard Candy, which, it's a really crazy film. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I did know of it, but I never got around to watching it. I've always wanted to watch it, and I thought, this would be the perfect time to bring it up. So yeah, and I'm glad I watched it. Although that said, I'm kind of not glad I watched it. Like there are some really disturbing bits in it.
Yeah, I think before we start with this one, Elliot Page has come out as transgender now, but obviously in this film she plays a girl, so we will call her Haley or her or Page.
Yeah,
referring her to as a female character, but we definitely totally respect her decision with that. It's incredibly brave, in my opinion.
100%.
I just thought it's important to mention that. Should we go straight into directing?
Yeah, let's go straight into directing.
Really interesting way this is shot. I think first and foremost, literally just something that's just popped into my head. You could definitely tell this is filmed digitally. It's not the best looking film, I don't think.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed straight away is which I quite liked, but is the very much undercranking style they use with the action scenes. Like it gets really choppy and very like, you know what I mean? The action seems really like jarring and quick, you know, even though they're obviously not doing much with the movement of what they're actually doing, but it was quite, you know, when Haley is like searching the house for evidence.
Oh yeah.
And their little fight near the end, you know, it makes it more visceral, but yeah, it was quite interesting, that bit.
Yeah, I would say like that was really well done. I don't think there was that much like flashiness in the directing or in the camera work.
No,
I think if you compare this to Revenge, you know, it looks a lot better. But
you could say this is kind of like a bottle film.
Yeah, exactly. No, actually, again, you've beat me again to a point I was going to make. What the hell's wrong with you? Are you reading through?
Read his mind, ladies and gentlemen.
Screw you. Anyway. So I thought of it first. I can't believe, but yeah, I was saying I could have used this as a bottle film. Yeah, could have killed two birds with one stone.
It's interesting with the directing. From the second shot, you see there's a really nice push-in on Haley when she's meeting Jeff for the first time, and it's a completely unflattering moment to make her look really innocent. You know, it's just her eating cake, and she's got chocolate all over her lips, and then you get, you know, making her really innocent. You know, she's a little child and, well, a teenager. And then when they go to sit down in the cafe, there's like this little shot that tracks round to Patrick Wilson's face, who plays Jeff, and it quickly moves past his face and then onto a missing persons poster, and then immediately it's kind of suckers you in to think, yep, this guy is weird.
Yeah.
Which is a great setup in those two combinations of, you know, for the twist that happens when Haley like straps into the chair, like, oh, this was not what I was expecting in this film. You know,
yeah,
which was really great, really well done. How it just suckered you in to that.
Yeah, and it definitely kind of puts that. Well, I suppose the regular setup of a female revenge film is, you know, something bad is going to happen to her, and then later she's going to get revenge for it. But with this, it's more so she's lured him into a trap, and then the rest of the film is him trying to escape getting, you know, tortured, basically. So it's definitely different in that respect.
What also was quite different was the amount of close-up shots they have in this film. It made me really quite uncomfortable. The amount of close-ups they have on each of the characters. It just creates this quite strong intimacy between the two characters, and it just made me like really uncomfortable. I was like, please give me a wide shot now, because it's just such a creepy situation. It's like, please, wide shot. Can I have a wide shot, please? I can breathe now for a few seconds. Oh, back to the close-ups. Oh my god.
Especially with the
certainly those opening scenes,
especially with the testicular scene. And it keeps going from his face to her face, like his face to her face. You're like, oh my god. I think that's basically the seminal moment of the film to me in my thing. There's so much build up to it.
I mean, yeah,
man, that was.
Yeah, let's get straight to it. Then. The castration scene. Oh my god.
That was really uncomfortable.
What the fuck? It's really interesting the way they construct it. Like in the build-up of it, because when she straps him to the table, it's quite a funny tracking shot. Well, I found it hilarious, but like Patrick Wilson, it's a bird's eye view.
Yeah, castration is so fun.
The camera goes from his face. Yeah. No, hang on, let me finish. It goes from his head and it tracks down his body, and then you just see this bag of ice on his dick, and I just find that hilarious. I'm like, oh my god, what the hell is going on? I don't know. For me, at that point, it still didn't click. I'm like, what the fuck has she got a bag of ice on his dick?
She's gonna freeze his nuts. Oh no, it's so much worse.
Then it goes to a shot where the scene is kind of like backlit. And it's very tight on each of their faces, and they're in like semi silhouette, and you can't quite see what Haley is wearing. And obviously Jeff doesn't really know what the hell is going on, and then randomly Jeff says, "Oh, why the ice?" And then cut to outside the window, and she's wearing scrubs, and it's just like, "Oh my god, he's going to cut his dick off."
Yeah. Yeah, it was another film, just like in Revenge, where I had to kind of stop for a minute and just kind of
Yeah.
get some air, because So I mean, if any guys are listening, well, if any girls are listening, this is
it's a man's worst nightmare.
This is a man's worst nightmare. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. No, I'd rather have glass in my foot.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a girl once, like, I don't know, we were just talking about hair, and, like, she had quite long hair, and she said, and I asked, would you ever go short hair? And she was like, no, worst nightmare. That's my worst nightmare.
Really?
Like, really? Really?
Wow, man.
And then after watching this, I'm like, oh my god. But there we go.
Never go out with anybody named Haley. Well, fuck it. Be weary of any 14-year-olds named Haley, at the very least.
With short hair.
With short hair, yeah. And a razor blade.
Yeah, these shots, some of the shots really bring out Patrick Wilson's incredible performance.
Yeah.
But there's one particular shot when when the castration is happening, and you just see his face just like covered in sweat. And the lighting is really good because it just captures all the sweat on his face, and it's kind of really red as well, and it just captures him just feeling just in incredible pain and just completely out of it. Do you remember that shot?
No, definitely.
Come back to it a few times.
And it's also like it gives you a very peculiar feeling, like you're sort of going through it, because he's wincing and everything, and you can hear the squelching, like the. And
again,
and
this
Haley
film used up a lot of fruit.
Yeah. And Haley's joking around about it, and you can just see on his face, it's like, wince. And then it just looks like he's not even there anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like he's, the lights are on,
Yeah.
Nobody's home, he just looks completely out of it, like, oh my god. Just the realization of what's happened to him. And she's like, I try not to make it hurt. He's like, why do you care? It's just like...
And there's one particular shot which is actually quite scary because you don't want to see it. But there's a bit where the camera's kind of on the shoulder of Haley while she's doing the castration, and the camera like drifts up at the monitor, and it's all out of focus. And you're like, no, I don't want to see it.
Keep it out of focus, for the love of God.
And
it could have been worse. It could have been worse. They didn't actually. It was more the performance of it happening rather than actually showing you it.
Yeah,
which is good.
I know, yeah.
You do see...
It's interesting because there's very little music in this film, but there's a little pulse of music while the camera drifts up to the monitor. It's just like daring you to look at it, even though it is, out of focus. It's just super creepy, this whole film, really.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Have you got a favourite shot, then?
Have I got a favourite? Not that one. Not that one at all. I think generally, actually, when he commits suicide.
Yeah, that is my favourite shot as well.
Yeah. She's like, just end it all and I'll get rid of all the evidence and stuff. And you just see, like, him basically silhouetted against the skyline, her and him, and he just jumps off.
Yeah.
And I just, that was just...
in slow motion.
In slow motion, yeah. Just really powerful, like, thematically, and then how it's done.
So I'll go first on these then. My score for directing, I think it's really well done, especially those opening scenes. The way it just makes you feel so uncomfortable about this whole situation that this teenage girl is dating like a 30-year-old man. It's just like, oh my god, and he just won't. There's literally next to no wide shots, but then there's a few like really interesting shots, tracking shots. And the performances are incredible.
Yeah.
The way the director gets them. So I'll probably go like 7.8.
Okay. I was going to say maybe just kind of a little off topic, but do you remember that scene where she starts putting the picture up of like? Yeah,
oh yeah.
I quite found that powerful. It's a picture of that woman that he said, that little girl that he said he never took a picture of, and all this stuff, and she's been trying to get like proof that he murdered this girl called Donna or something, and puts her picture up on the wall. That was really good. But yeah, I think maybe similar actually, maybe 7.9 or something.
Screenplay. I find this screenplay really quite fascinating actually. in terms of how the film kind of subverts this genre. Because obviously with Revenge, it's a straight up classic revenge story, revenge thriller. You know, a bad thing happens to someone, the character takes revenge on the others. Simple. With this, it kind of flips it a bit, because you know, the way the film is structured, you think you know where this film is going, but the twist is you don't see the punishment happen, if you know what I mean. And then it kind of goes to, then you're like, is Hayley going too far with this? Is she going to get caught? And then it's kind of like, is Hayley actually the antagonist in this, or is Jeff? Or are they both antagonists in this?
Because I think
it's really interesting where this goes.
Yeah, because I mean, he never at any point does a sort of, well, I suppose really, really towards the end, and at that point, it's not a villain monologue. It's an admission, because she's constantly badgering him about like exactly how bad he is, and he constantly denies it or comes up with some excuses or. So, like, she's like, like, literally, I'm 14, you knew this was wrong and all this stuff. You take pictures of girl. And he's like, no, that's professional. No, I wouldn't have done anything. And then it's maybe, I don't know. Maybe he does. But then she starts insinuating that he's actually a murderer as well. And that's something he just constantly denies. I have not killed anyone, I swear to God. And then it's a particular girl. Donna. She went missing. I know you killed her. No, I didn't. All the way really right to the end where he's like... So I think throughout all of that, I'm thinking maybe this is a case of mistaken identity. Maybe he does look at kiddie things or whatever. But like maybe she's got him pegged for the wrong guy, you know, because it's quite extreme what she's doing to him.
Because it kind of ends in a fairly conventional way where, you know, Jeff ends up killing himself or basically being goaded into killing himself by Hayley. Yeah. But what I'm saying is there's no particular point where a bad thing happens to Hayley.
No. So, well, I would say like there are only like slivers.
But I guess it's always in the background.
Yeah. There are only like I would say there are slivers of every time he escapes, which does actually happen quite frequently. She's definitely not a pro at this.
Yeah.
But I think he escapes 3 times, and I think by the 3rd time, you're just like, yeah, come on. Now he's probably going to do some damage to her, and I'm a bit fearful of her, but also kind of, I'm not saying I'm on his side, but you think, man, he has been through a lot, you know, here. That maybe he's going to, you know, even the score. But she's quite clever. Like, every time he escapes, she does manage to, like, kick his ass down.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think there was any moment, really, where I wanted Jeff to get away with it or to escape.
No.
Really.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that Hayley is kind of a really menacing character.
Well, maybe at the start I thought, like, maybe she had just got the wrong guy, and maybe, I don't know, you know, maybe this isn't as bad as it seems. I think, you know, she does start to eke out more and more of a confession throughout the film, I think, per escape. Yeah. So I think maybe the first one, you think, maybe this is a bit much. But by the 3rd one, you're like, nah, he's definitely a rapist and a murderer. So that definitely goes out the window for me. But it's just one of those things. Like, I don't want to come across as saying sympathy, but I do have somewhat sympathy for him. Not again, it's not like I agree with anything he did, but the fact that he comes across as a human.
Well, he gets his dick cut off.
I mean, man, I would sympathise with anybody who got their dick cut off. I think, you know, yeah. I mean, man, you've suffered enough. But I think
obviously
it's just the way he plays it. Yeah, no, really. But I'm just saying it's the way he plays it. He doesn't go into like villain mode or just be like, I'm evil. No, he's constantly defending his actions, and he's constantly trying to fight for his life and say whatever. He's crying, he's like freaking out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it just seems like this is what would happen if you got your revenge on somebody and tortured the hell out of them. It isn't that they would just, grit their teeth and bear it and say some evil thing and then you'd finish them. It's like, no, he is begging, he's pleading, he's trying to, like, explain his actions, he's going through his past, trying to humanize himself, trying to talk to her, all this stuff. So I don't think at any point I felt, like, even when he's like, literally, I'm going to kill her towards the end, it's like, I don't know, these are all kind of understandable reactions that a person would do. Again, I'm not defending him. I'm just saying it does the kind of, I suppose, raw, squeamish view of what actual justice or revenge or whatever would actually be like. I suppose, like when you say, you know, a revenge film where, like, or, you know, action movie like Die Hard, where, you know, everybody, you know, all the bad guys die like that. In real life, you shoot a bunch of guys, they're bleeding, they're screaming, they're crying, they're shitting themselves. It's not pleasant. And I think it did it more like that. Also, she's kind of sadistic, you know. It's like, yeah, he might deserve it, but she's definitely taking some glee into this. She's definitely happy about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's definitely taking pleasure in this. There's no doubt about that. Because she's so level-headed. I mean, there are moments where she kind of freaks out a bit, but not many. Certainly not compared to Jeff.
Yeah.
But the film definitely treats Haley's character as like a hero type character, because she hasn't been a victim at all in this film. You know, there's no motivation for her. What she's trapping Jeff into this situation.
Yeah.
You know,
But wouldn't you say that
there's nothing personal here, you know, for Haley particularly.
But I don't know, because if you said like there's nothing personal, then like, and I think maybe you're right, but then it does come across as like the intention of it. I mean, did you ever watch like Dexter? Like, you know, the thing with he's a serial killer, but he channels that into killing serial killers. But it's like, you know, man, he would be killing people anyway. You know, it's just he's challenging it and channeling it into something good. I think she does seem quite disturbed. Do you know what I mean? If she wasn't targeting pedophiles, maybe she'd, like, you know, kill a granny or something. I don't know. Take a postman's balls off or something.
It's just interesting how this film manipulates the audience in the way that you get these two, I've said antagonistic characters, but I'm not sure that's the right term. It's just these two not psychologically.
Yeah. I think they're psychologically both messed up, you know, really badly. I think they're I think they're very, very exactly. But I would say like they're very, 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 very dark grey, with him being on the bad side, obviously. But it's it's like, but even him talking about his life and his relationships, and, you know, where she sends all that evidence to his girlfriend, you know, when they were both much, much younger. I think he even talks about that, like, when they first met. It was like, do you know what I mean? It's like, he's got some emotions there, you know.
Right, let's dive into some of the lines, because there's a lot of...
Oh, yeah. I guess I was going to say this. When I was talking about her being sadistic, when she was saying, I'm just testing the garbage disposal with his testicles, and puts them down and goes, I guess they weren't brass after all. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
There's one quite sick one from Jeff where there's a line where Haley picks up one of the photos on the wall. You know, one of the models that he slept with, called Janelle. I think that's the one he had a special relationship with. And Jeff says, I learned everything I know practicing on her. Which is kind of really creepy.
That is pretty damn creepy.
And there's other ones there's loads of incredibly sick lines from Haley when she's doing the castration scene, like, everybody will be a little bit safer if you do a little preventive maintenance.
Yeah.
And then Jeff randomly shouts out, which is so fucking funny, like, does your mother know you cut off my balls?
Yeah. Doesn't she's like, maybe I'll tell her after this. Like, she doesn't know, but maybe I'll tell her. Yeah, maybe she'll be proud.
Oh, can you imagine if she sleep talks? Fucking hell.
Yeah. Oh my god. But there are some really kind of really dark humor lines there. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. I was going to say it's pretty nuts, but they're pretty ugly nuts now.
And she says, "What should I do first, your right or your left testicle? Why don't we just go with the right one?"
I like when she goes, we're just past the hump now. Yeah. I've got to finish it, Jeff. Otherwise you'll be limping or something. It's like, I got to finish it off, you know. You're like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's so sadistic because she likes pretending to care and being all...
Yeah, because she says, she definitely wants to look after her patients, in air quotes, when she says, like, oh, there's this website, unixquestions.com. It asks great questions. You don't have to go through this alone.
Yeah.
You know, she's just caring, you know, looking after her patient.
Christ.
And then she's like, oh, what should we do with them? We could see how far they bounce.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, she is just a nutter.
No,
I like that.
I
one.
know, that was a good one.
That's my go-to nutcase. One.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Nutter,
Yeah.
nutter with nuts in her hands. Oh man, yeah, that was pretty crazy. I think we could talk at length about the testicle scene. Like, I think definitely like the most memorable sequence in a film I've seen. Quite, yeah. Oh man, yeah. Wow. But anyway, he wasn't having fun, but she was having a ball. Ha ha. Yeah.
You were waiting ages to say that.
Yeah, I know. I even forgot the line. I was like, I'm supposed to say something. Yeah, great.
But there's an interesting line that Jeff has, like, when he does escape, which kind of like an acceptance speech of like who he is, that he is a paedophile,
Yeah.
you know, and he goes like really crazy and he stabs repeatedly one of his pictures and he says, you're right, Haley. Thank you. This is me. This is who I am. Thank you for helping me see it.
Yeah, that was good.
You know, and he's just basically saying, fuck it, I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'm a murdering pedo. I'm just going to try and go after this girl now.
Yeah.
He's got nothing.
Yeah, she's really, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, that was pretty cool. There's so many good lines. I would think it's basically, I would say, the opposite that I had with Revenge, when we were talking about Revenge, where I'm like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
the direction and all this and symbolism and camera work and all, but not too many like memorable one-liners and acting and stuff.
Yeah.
This I don't think it's not that experimental or kind of unique in its camera work and like direction and stuff, but
No.
when it comes to like dialogue, yeah, this
Yeah.
definitely beats out Revenge. Much more memorable dialogue.
And structurally as well, how it plays out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, no.
So do you have a favourite line?
Yeah, I got quite a few actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really hard to narrow it down. Oh yeah, didn't you feel it was kind of where she's like set up that strangle as it, you know, for him to hang himself and all that stuff the first time.
Yeah.
And
What, in the kitchen?
yeah, in the kitchen. And I got really tense when the neighbor called up, knocked on the door and what have you, and she's out and he's like
Oh yeah, Sandra Ho
yeah. That-
randomly turns up. You're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
tense.
Yeah, that
tense,
was really tense. He's like, did I hear something? Oh, yeah, you know, he's food poisoning. He's in a lot of pain. It's like,
Really?
yeah, that was really tense. That was really.
I thought she was going to come back after that scene. I thought we were going to see her again, and like I thought she was going to
Yeah.
like
She did look
you know,
suspicious.
call the cops or
Yeah,
something,
exactly.
But
She did
it
look,
never happened. But she didn't do anything. I guess it was just a red herring.
Yeah, I think
Fake
as well.
outfit.
It was just to perk your excitement. It was like, oh my god, she's going to get caught.
But yeah, my favourite line is definitely, "Does your mother know you cut my balls off?
I was going to say,
Cut off my balls."
yeah. Oh man, I was going to say what. This is going to piss me off because I had in my mind so many of these lines, and now they're like slowly slipping out of my head. Or I guess the line. I guess they're not made of brass after all. I quite like that.
Yeah.
That was so gross.
So for me, I think I probably will score it a tad higher than Revenge because I think with Revenge, with the screenplay, it doesn't particularly do anything special. But
Yeah, it doesn't really take any risks
they're
and stuff. Yeah.
definitely no. But with Revenge's approach, it's very much don't mess with with a good formula. But with this, it's certainly trying to do something a bit different. You know, as we've said, like having these two kind of psychopathic people, very dark shades of grey type character, as you described, butting heads, which is really, really interesting, and how it just suckers you into this trap as the audience. And Jeff is really great. So I think I'll go with 7.8.
Yeah. I probably will go. I think I'll go quite a bit higher. So I might go 8.4. 8.4.
I don't know. I'm not in a very high scoring mood today. I don't think. I don't know. I'm being harsh.
Yes, it's been very. It's because it's because it's women based films. Martin is a sexist.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not a woman hater. No.
Martin
No.
is a sexist. You've
What are you
heard it
saying?
first.
Oh God. Fuck's sake, Barrett.
Ladies, boycott him.
Right.
This will be my show
Right,
now.
acting.
Yeah.
I think they're both incredible in this.
Yeah.
Really, Paige and Patrick Wilson. Any good moments from you? for you?
Yeah, I mean, the whole scene with them on the table, I know we've talked about this so much, but it's built up for so long, and then when it happens, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, and that was just really intense.
Yeah.
When he starts, like, at the end, like, really freaking out, like, you know, she's gone and stuff, and he goes full psycho. That was great. His acceptance at the end of it, where he's basically crying, and it's like, you know what I mean? He's, like, breaking down, and he admits to it finally.
Yeah.
Also, going back into the script thing, I thought that's another little twist that you might not catch up on, when he finally admits to it, finally, but that, you know, he was involved in that girl's disappearance and death. But he goes, but it wasn't me, it was the guy I was with, yeah? And she was like, he basically said the same thing. So she's already been and killed that guy. So you're like, okay, yeah, she knows what she's doing. Yeah, her acting at the beginning where she's acting all sweet and innocent, and then it's like does a 180, she drugs him and is suddenly torturing his ass.
Great.
Yeah.
And her performance is really great when she says, because obviously they have quite a bit of a dialogue sequence when he's tied up in the chair, and she says, Jeff, playtime is over. Now it's time to wake up. And she just turns in her face just really menacing, and you know, you're just convinced that she means business now, and it's just like, oh, where is this film going from here? You know, one piece of acting I really liked from Patrick Wilson, when Haley is trying to guess the combination and the safe, and you know, he gives like a sarcastic comment, oh, you're not going to get it. And then like he slowly, increasingly looks more and more nervous when she's talking about like the birthday of the girl that he was seeing previously.
Yeah.
And you know, you can just really see it. You know, it goes from nervousness to like deep shame when she opens the safe to see all these pictures, you know. Yeah, it was quite really good performance there from Patrick Wilson. You know, going from nervous, scared to shame, all in like a few minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
One aspect of Paige's performance where you're like, which reinforces this thing of like you don't particularly know where this film is going to go, and whether Haley can pull this thing off, is when I think Patrick Wilson is trying to escape, and then Paige suffocates him with the cling film wrapped around his face.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that.
When that's done, like. Yeah, she goes like really intense and
starts slamming her head against the wall.
Yeah, and she's not fully comfortable doing this.
Yeah.
You know, it just gives you that sense that, oh, can she actually control this situation from here on out? You know, it just gives you that sense of doubt in, you know, as you go through the story.
Yeah. He's definitely very active. You know, like he keeps trying to escape at like every opportunity. She would have been safer off just shooting him in the head, but you know.
The only thing that bothered me in that, I'm just like, well, he goes after the gun, but I'm like, well, the gun ain't going to get you out the chair, dude. I think a knife would be better first, then get the gun. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, next time you're tied up in a chair, you know what to do. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going for a knife.
I'm going for a knife.
First job, get out of the chair, then try and kill the bitch. I mean, I'm talking from Patrick Wilson.
Exactly. Anyway. Yeah. You don't kill bitches.
So my
not anymore, anyway. Anyway,
my favourite performance was a difficult one to choose because I think they're both really great. But I think I'm going to go with Patrick Wilson over Elliot Page.
Yeah.
Because I think not many actors have the opportunity, or I wouldn't say opportunity, I don't know. They don't have scenes where their dick is being cut off.
Yeah, I would say when it comes... Yeah, exactly.
Intense pain like that, it's really difficult.
I would say, and just like, it's also like the disbelief. It's not so much the pain, it's just like, what the hell is happening? Oh my God, what is happening? Oh my God. But to maintain that, because you know, it does. Yeah, maybe we should give that to put it on his resume, like, you know, top-notch penis castration actor. Yeah. Maybe that should be in the Oscars.
Can you imagine that being at the top?
Yeah, that would be funny. Yeah. That would be in the Oscars.
Just one single category.
yeah, one category, and the award for best castrated male goes to. You know. That'd be insane.
Patrick Wilson
Pat-
again.
Yay!
Yeah.
I would say he's got balls, but that's not true. Yeah, no, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, so I'm guessing your favourite performance is Patrick Wilson
Yeah,
as well?
I would edge Patrick Wilson over.
Yeah.
She does a good job, but
Okay.
I do think he just edges her out just slightly.
Yeah, I think the acting in this is quite incredible from these two. It's a great two-hander. So I'm going to go with 8.2, I think.
Yeah.
I think it just edges it with above screenplay, I think, for me.
Okay. I would go 8.5.
Right, so let's add up the scores then for Hard Candy. Okay, the final score for Hard Candy is, quite incredibly, 48.6, which is exactly the same as Revenge. So there is a tie.
Wow. Boy.
No winner this week.
You go, girlfriend. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
So that's quite extraordinary.
That is quite extraordinary. First time that ever happened.
Next week, we'll be doing Tom Hanks films, as News of the World would have reached our screens on Netflix. He obviously has a massive wealth of films under his belt, so it'll be interesting to see what films we pick.
Yeah,
as
it's gonna
ever,
be difficult.
Boaz, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you, man.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it for this week's pod. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to find out more about the podcast or suggest future topics for us to discuss related to upcoming releases, let us know on Instagram at Film vs. Film Podcast or on Twitter at FVF_podcast. Remember, please subscribe. Pod signing off.